Hey Genesee Valley, Sports Reporter Chris Graham here with Sports Reporter Chad Eaton for another edition of the Sunday Sports Show. Couple of games before we get into sectionals next week, or this coming week I should say. York and Geneseo, the volleyball. You look at this as a rivalry game, and it really wasn't that. It was a one-sided game. York over Geneseo, 63-8. Tyler Schutz, we talk about him a lot. We'll get into him in a second, but another player that we should really make note of in this game, Calvin Voisey, 4 rushing touchdowns in the first half, and he's a guy that's definitely had a good year for him as well.
Yeah, Schutz and Voisey, they're a good team together. Schutz, you had to be ready for the pass against him, and then Voisey also has a great running game. Yeah,
Schutz definitely, one of his passing touchdowns in the game, I was saying to you off camera, at least 50 yards in the air. Just an amazing player, and we have some stats too to back that up. Schutz this year with over 1,500 yards passing and 19 touchdowns. We've been talking about him all season, but when you see the numbers like that, really exemplifies how good a season he's had.
Yeah, he really is just a great athlete. I mean, he has a 103 passer rating. That's pretty unheard of for a high school quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you hear about players maybe in bigger markets than Livingston County of having good high school football seasons, but when one's right in your backyard, you take the time out. I mean, certainly we're covering the games, but you enjoy covering a player that's plays that well.
Yeah, he really is a great athlete.
And the other game for this Friday that we had, Avon Bishop Kearney.
Yep.
Chad, what happened there?
Avon came out on top this week, 41-8. They scored early in the first quarter, up 21-0 at half. That momentum just carried them through to the second half. They only let up 1 touchdown, and that was in the last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter. So, I mean, pretty dominant game for Avon.
Yeah, they improved now to 6-1 on the season, and we should also mention that York now improves to 5-2. Both teams getting ready for sectionals.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams, very good years, very strong out of the 3 local teams that we'll cover here. But both finished off their regular season slate of games in an impressive fashion. In other sporting news, the Geneseo girls volleyball team picked up another win, improving their record to 13-2, a 3-set victory over Pavilion. Chad, 13-2, pretty impressive mark.
Yeah, it is. But, I mean, they aren't satisfied with just that. They want more.
Yeah, their head coach, Chris Butera, said they're still fighting for sectional points. They're still trailing Lions, who remains undefeated. But looking either at that 2, 3, 4 slot for sectionals. But like we said, not stopping, not being satisfied with, what is a very good record, but knowing that there's still more to accomplish.
Yeah, they still want that sectional trophy.
Yeah, absolutely. They have three games remaining coming up over the next couple of weeks, so we'll see how they finish off. And Chad, you had some soccer action earlier in the week.
Yep, Keshequa at York girls soccer this week. York is now 8-3-2, and they took a hard loss on their senior night, 2-0 loss. They really struggled to capitalize on their scoring opportunities. They were there, but they just had a hard time to capitalize on it. But they're going to look to bounce back next week against Letchworth.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at the record, 8-3-2. They've obviously bounced back off some defeats before, but you were saying it was kind of a shocking to take the 2-0 loss. It seemed like they had been rolling along a little bit.
Yeah, they really had been. It was a really physical game. It came down to strength there, but I mean, hopefully they're going to bounce back next week.
Yep, and they use that against Letchworth.
Yep, okay. Letchworth next week. SUNY Geneseo boys soccer improved their record this week to 4-8-2 with a win over Cortland. 2-1, they beat them. Richard Beluski, first goal in the first half, really helped them, give them some confidence and carry the momentum into the second half. Second goal scored by Matt Rouse. Little insurance for the Knights. They're looking pretty well.
Yeah, and they got a couple of conference games coming up. You talked about the record 4-8-2. Certainly you want to be able to add on some conference wins to improve that record.
Yep, next week they have 2 conferences against Plattsburgh and Potsdam, and they're looking to get 2 wins there.
That's all for this week's show. We hope you've enjoyed our coverage of sports this week in Livingston County. Make sure to stay tuned to the sports show every Sunday for coverage of sectionals coming up. And for Chad Eaton, I'm Chris Graham. Have a good night, Genesee Valley, and go Bills.